Stephanie Stitches here. Welcome to my channel where together we sew. If you're brand new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and ring the bell for notifications. That way you'll know when I post up videos like this one or when I go live, which is most Saturdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I love seeing you guys commenting down below. It encourages me to keep going, and then I feel like I'm surrounded by friends. So this is week 1 of my Blue-tiful sew along. This is a free sew along, and you can find the fabric requirements and cutting instructions on my website, as well as this week's block. I will release a block each week until we're all done, and then we'll put it all together. So you can see the first block on the wall behind me. I sewed up one of them ahead of time to show you what we're doing, and then I'm going to sew one with y'all so I can show you how to make the block, and then you'll sew the rest of them on your own. There's 4 blocks you need to make this week. They're all the same block, and this is going to be block A. So let's get started. Okay, so for this week's block, you're going to need your fabric A, which is your Fairy Frost powder blue, or whatever you choose to use if you're sewing with your stash. Your Fairy Frost C fabric, which is cobalt. This is a 9-inch piece. This is an 8-inch piece. Your background piece, which is an 8-inch piece, and a background 9-inch square. So you'll need all of these for one block, and don't forget we're making 4 blocks, so you're going to multiply this times 4. So 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay? So I'm going to set these 2 smaller pieces aside for a minute, and the first thing you're going to want to do is draw a line from corner to corner on the back of your background piece, and then we're going to lay this right sides together onto the Fairy Frost. So the pretty sides are going to be touching each other. And of course on solids there's no right or wrong side really, so definitely on the Fairy Frost though. And I'm going to grab a couple of pins. I usually don't pin, but I'm going to since this is such big pieces, because I don't want these to shift as I'm sewing them. And we're going to make half square triangles. So if you're doing all 4 blocks at one time, I recommend doing this process for all 4 blocks at the same time. It'll go much faster if you chain piece these and cut them apart and iron them all at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and sew a 1/4 inch on either side of this center drawn line. If you've been with me for any length of time, which I know a lot of you have, you know that this is my favorite way to make half square triangles, because I'd rather trim down and not worry that my pieces are going to be too small. I'm just going to flip it around and do the other side. Not even cut that thread. Oh, except it cut for me. Thread just broke. That's alright. Happens sometimes. We'll just rethread it. I think it's my machine telling me it's time for a new needle, because that's the second time my thread broke today, so yeah. It's a good sign you need a new needle in there. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to take these pins out, and now I'm going to grab my rotary cutter and let me see, grab this ruler. I'm going to find a longer ruler to make this easier, but that's alright. I can just use this guy. And I'm going to cut this apart right on that line that I drew. Okay, so that'll give me 2 half square triangles. Okay. So I'm going to press these towards the Fairy Frost fabric, away from the background fabric, and then we're going to trim them down. And I don't know where my magic juice pen is right now, so I'm going to skip it this time. that a good press. I want to make sure that that seam is nice and pressed over before I trim up the block. Somebody asked me not too long ago why I set the seam like this. It actually helps your thread sink a little bit into your fabric. So I like that because it makes your seams just a little bit flatter. Anything we can do to make those seams flatter is a good thing in my book. Okay, those are ironed. Alright, so now I'm going to grab my order cutter and my ruler again, and I'm going to trim these down to 8 inches square. I think I might need to move this iron for a second here. So on these rulers, most of them have a diagonal line. I love that about these rulers. I'm going to put that line right on my sew line and trim this guy down. And then flip that block around and trim the other side. Okay. And do the same thing for the other one. Now you're going to have 8 of these all together for all 4 blocks. 2 per block. So it'll save you a little time if you do all your half square triangles first. Kind of trim them all down at the same time. It'll save you a bunch of time. Because once those half square triangles are done, this goes together really fast. Okay. Alrighty, set that aside. Those are done, so I'm going to grab these blocks and we're going to lay this out. Told you this was a quick and easy block. We're almost there already. Alright, so you're going to put your background square in the upper left hand side. You're going to have your half square triangles, the fairy frost touching each other right here, and the background on the outsides. And then you're going to put your cobalt blue down in the lower right hand corner. So I'm just going to put these together. And then grab this one. Open that guy up. Now I'm going to finger press this for a second before I take it to the, or bring the iron back up. I'm going to press it towards the solid piece, the solid square. Same thing up here. I'm going to press it towards this solid square because it'll be easier to nest these guys. There we go. Give that a quick press and then sew those pieces together. You probably could get away with not pressing these before you sew them together if you finger press them, but oh, I guess can't let go. I just have to iron. Okay. There's that one. It does iron quicker though if you finger press first. Alright. Put this guy back out of the way over here. And sew these guys together. You can pin these if you want, but they're such big pieces, I think you probably don't need to. I would just take a couple stitches, stop, and then nest your seams here in the middle. Make sure those seams are kissing each other. And then after you go past that center seam, line up your ends. Alright. And we already have a finished block. Yay! Alright, so that took about 10 minutes. Not long. Probably take less time if you're not making these on camera. So you can be done with all these blocks in less than an hour. Goes really quick and easy. Just gonna press this guy. I miss my magic juice. I gotta find my magic juice pen. Anytime I go somewhere to sew and I take things, I can't find them when I come back. I need to get better at that. Okay. So this is week one's block, and you're gonna make 4 of these. Okay, so as you can see here on the wall behind me, I've got all 4 of my blocks done. It took me about 20 minutes, 25 minutes maybe altogether, from the 10 minutes I spent with you guys, and the one I did ahead of time took me a few minutes, and then I finished up the other 2 before I came back. So about 25-30 minutes, not too bad this week. It'll give you guys time to catch up if you haven't finished your cutting, or if you're just joining and you're grabbing your own fabrics, pick out your fabrics and sew along. So I hope you enjoyed this week. I'll see you next Sunday for block 2. Make sure you mark these as block A, and all 4 of them are going to be block A. And use your favorite, post-it or alphabetties, or the pins with the alphabets on them, whatever you like. But these are block A. And then next week we'll continue with block B. Thanks guys so much for coming by. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye!